Welcome back to Maui EVA, short for Maui Electric Vehicle Alliance. This is a project funded by the Department of Energy. It's a Clean Cities planning grant for EV readiness. We just submitted our report to the Department of Energy, 105 pages, called EVs in Paradise, planning for the development of electric vehicle infrastructure in Maui County. I have here with me economist Anne Jenny, who also teaches economics at UHMC. Anne, welcome back to our show.
Thank you so much.
You are here for the 10th episode, and I was very happy that we could talk shop. You read the report, and you have some comments I see on every single page.
Almost every page.
Every page. But it's 105 pages. I don't think it's that long because we have it in huge font. We deliberately wrote it so that, you know, people can read it easily. And do you think it was quite readable?
It was readable. It was accessible.
Good, accessible,
yes.
Great.
But it was also detailed enough that you could get a fair idea of where the plans were and what was going on. So it was a nice balance.
Excellent. Well, this report, we have it on our website now, so I'll show everyone where it is. But let me just quickly go through the contents and let's see. So here's the title, and it's on our website at mauieva.org/report/revised.pdf, or you could just click on it. And, oh, what happened here? All right, here. So our project, we had a lot of milestones. So in the beginning, we talk about how from February 2011, the first Nissan Leafs arrived in Hawaii, and then the first local resident in Maui orders a Chevy Volt, not from Hawaii, but I think from California or somewhere on the mainland. And all that we went through. We've had the first and only DC fast charger installed at Maui County Building September last year, 2012. There's only 6 in the entire state at this moment, but there's going to be a lot more. And then we had the National Plug-in Day around the same time. So the table of contents, we have 10 chapters going from introduction, who the stakeholders were, and different barriers we identified to EV adoption. And then what are some of the incentives and benefits why people would want to drive an EV. EV deployment is really about how do we get more EVs to come here and adoption. And then chapter 6 on deploying charging infrastructure is really about charging stations, right? Utility grid, and a lot of that is covered also in our episode 8 when we had Miko on board. Local ordinances, chapter 8, that's all about permitting, zoning, building codes, SMAs or the special management areas, and outreach and education. We'll talk a bit about that later in this episode, and also in the 12th episode, and then recommendations for the different kinds of stakeholders. So let's talk about our vision. Our vision is basically to deliver an EV in paradise, specifically, and I think that's the reason why we won the grant, was for our 2 million visitors. Now, during the course of this project, we discovered that, well, 40% of our workforce serve the visitor industry, and they're all local residents. So we need to backtrack a little bit and make sure our local residents understand what EVs are.
Exactly. And I think in order to have some effective adoption of an EV standard, you're going to need buy-in from the local residents.
Yes.
And you know, tourism is very much the tail that wags the dog around here, and so you're going to have a certain amount of resistance to, oh, one more thing for the tourists, when do I get the road in front of my house fixed?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, initially we thought if the rental car companies would bring in all the EVs, then, you know, they have a turnaround like every 18 months. They need to return the EVs, but instead of returning them, they can sell them to the secondhand market, and then they will be more affordable for local residents.
Well, I think the one thing I saw that was somewhat missing from the report is a way to encourage local stakeholders. Most of our tourist industry is owned offshore. not owned here locally. And when you're talking an economic, a viable economic system, you have to allow access both to resources and means of production to the local residents. And if the rental car companies are the only ones that are renting them, if the offshore-owned businesses are the only ones that are being targeted for putting in charging stations, you're very much leaving out a major portion of the economic system, the economic engine that's going to drive and pick this up.
This is a very good point, because when we're trying to get charging stations installed, and if the owner of the property is not here, it's harder to negotiate. Similarly, like for the condos and apartments, if the owners, like these vacation rentals, if they don't live here, how are you going to get charging stations at the condos? They're not here to meet and discuss, and so that's a very good point. So let me just quickly go through. Let's see. So this is our vision. It's in the report. By 2030, we want to see lots of EVs. When we say EVs, we mean the kind where you have to have a plug to plug into the grid. Otherwise, you will always need gas of some sort, right? Some kind of outside input for energy. And visitors will be able to book EVs rental online, EV accommodation packages, and ecotourism. Imagine they come here and they don't pollute at all. It's wonderful for their conscience, for us too, And this also helps MECO make use of that otherwise curtailed wind energy, because we don't have that much demand at the times when the wind is roaring. So there's more about how every major tourist, and no one will be stranded, will be truly EV ready. So let's see, barriers to EV readiness, Chapter 3. Currently, here in 2013, there is still a perception that it's not affordable, and we only have really just 2 or 3 models. We have dealerships that serve the Nissan Leaf, the Chevy Volt, and the Toyota plug-in Prius. That's it right now. We don't have a Mitsubishi dealer for the iMEV. Anything else, it's at your own risk if you want to bring them over here. But you haven't experienced problems with your Leaf.
No. The big thing with I think with introducing a new technology is not so much the models that are available as the charging. And one of the things that I couldn't find in this report was if I'm a business and I choose to put in a charging station, why all this so many permits and this and that and the other things, and then do I get any return on that, or do I just am I just offering my customers a service? If I rent space from my business for an ATM, I get a return on that, right? If the access questions and things like that. Again, using the ATM analogy, you can go to an ATM, almost any business or space here on the island. All you have to do is swipe your credit card. Why do we need all these silly key fobs in order to be able to access? Why can't I just swipe my credit card, plug in and charge the same way I do as a gas station?
Since we're in the early days, the charging station manufacturers aren't talking to each other. They have their own data to protect, and security, and safety of the charging station. That's why. But you're right.
Banks don't have to worry about security or safety or secrecy of their protecting their customers' data and stuff.
Stealing electricity.
Yeah, well, I think that's a spurious argument.
All right.
I think if there was a will to be collaborative, we could get it done like that. Okay. I'm so used to working with more open source type things that, this, it's mine and I'm going to keep it and I'm going to make sure that I get only advantage from it. Right. If you want to encourage the community to adopt this, what's in it for them? Actually, this is a very good point. I mean, ideally, because we're trying to encourage adoption, everything should be free. So, right? Easy to use. Not necessarily, it's not necessarily a public good. It doesn't have to be free. I don't mind paying for the power that I use. Right. I do when I plug it in at home. but accessibility is the question.
Accessibility.
You know, every gas station has a different system or setup, so it's not that that's a problem. But remember when we went to pump your own gas back in the, whenever it was, 70s or 80s, right? You know, everybody's, grandma doesn't know how to do that, right? Well, now we take it for granted. Anytime you're adopting something a little bit new, there is a learning process, but eventually it becomes just sort of part of the way you do things, and it doesn't matter if it's different at each one.
Right, right. I think there's also other, you know, education, we're going to talk about that, and just a certain fear of new technology. Wouldn't you say, fear and resistance, and just, you know, systems and procedures, how to use it. So that whole chapter 3 on barriers to EV readiness, when I talk about limited selection, it's also people want trunk space, people want a truck, people want to carry their surfboards and that kind of thing. Limited range, because some people, they drive all day long, like salesmen or real estate agents, so they don't have time to stop and charge. Because right now, people think it takes too long to charge unless you have a DC fast charger, and those are rare.
You know, there's another argument for a shared vehicle fleet.
Right, so they could swap.
Yeah,
yeah.
You
so
drive from Kihei to Lahaina
That's
and
a good point.
Swap a car. You drive up to the county, swap a car. It doesn't matter then.
That's right. You have to move everything from your car to
well,
the other
most
car,
of us,
though.
you know, any salesperson has, you know, a single
So
bag.
car swap
Yeah.
and fleet, that makes sense, yeah. We have to almost think outside of the box.
Absolutely.
For all this, yeah. So what I like to do is, after the break, talk a bit more about one of these chapters. We won't have time to talk about all of these.
Okay.
So please come back and join us for the remainder portion of our talk on our report. Thank you.
You're watching MCTV, the UH Maui College Television Network.
Welcome back to Maui EVA. We have Anne Jenny, economist, here with us. Hi, Anne.
Hi.
Oh, boy, I can tell this topic is very close to your heart. You're very excited about it. So let's talk about EV registrations in Maui County. So this is back in December. At the end of December, we had about 151 registered owners of EVs in Maui. Actually, at the end of January, it went up to 171. Now, this includes the legacy EVs, which are some of them retrofits. There's also neighborhood electric vehicles. They don't go faster than 25 miles per hour, so they can't go on highways. So if we look at from January, you see a big jump because that's when the new EVs started arriving. And if we were to look at comparison with the other counties, this is not in the report, but we see that we are not only do we have more EVs registered, this is plug-in type electric vehicles or hybrid, anything with a plug, but also we're growing at a faster rate than the Big Island and Kauai. All right, Big Island is just over 80, about 85, and Kauai is under 20. Now, Kauai, the maximum demand of Kauai is electric demand, daily demand is about our minimum demand. So that gives you some perspective, electric demand, okay, electricity usage. So if we compare the 3 islands, the 3 counties with Oahu, you can see Oahu, mainly Honolulu, is just like a shooting star. The growth has been 700% in terms of electric vehicles. So one of the things we need to know is this number, to track it closely. We aren't able, unfortunately, to break it down by type of vehicle. The Department of Motor Vehicles isn't able to give us that information. And also we wanted to be able to break it down by which ones are neighborhood electric vehicles, the gems that we see at hotels. So those are the things. And we talked about some of the key factors that will influence EV purchases for private use and also for commercial use and fleets. And this is one of those things that we need to, quote unquote, talk story. Because in a room where, if we meet, people aren't going to raise their hands and say, that's my real resistance. This is right.
Yeah. And, in Hawaii, we like to talk story about stuff.
Yeah.
So oftentimes what we're doing with this deployment oftentimes seems to bring in the experts to tell us what we're supposed to think, and we don't have that opportunity. So I'm really delighted that you're doing this program, because that allows a little bit of that input.
Yes.
So, and when people see me driving around in it, I get comments and questions and stuff. I also get a little bit of, how come there's a lot of misperception locally about what and how things are happening. And so I've been doing my best to educate, but the opportunity to talk story would be amazing.
Would be good.
Yeah.
Well, I know that Enterprise at 40 Hana Highway, whenever they get an opportunity to replace a vehicle, like when your vehicle gets fixed, if your car gets fixed, they'll say, you want to try the Leaf or you want to try the Volt? Because you can rent it, but they also can let you have that while you're getting your car fixed. So that's a way to try. And they have a Kama'aina rate, which is about about $40 a day. And I think if you spend that much money on gas, you might as well as try electric vehicle. So, we were talking about the reasons for resistance and the factors that affect residential EV adoption. There's a lot. And then we have another chapter on charging infrastructure. When we started, there was only one charging location, and that was Jim Falk Motors. They had to have it in place in order to sell EVs. But now we have 20 locations, 20 commercial locations, not to mention about 30 residential charging station. I mean, I'm talking about level 2, 240 volts or higher. And so altogether we have more than 50. But then if you count the number of outlets there are level 1, you could say we have millions, because you can literally plug it in, right?
Yep.
So these are some of the locations, and I visited some of them. And one of the things we want to encourage these locations, these property owners to do, is to do a press release, do some kind of event so people will know it exists. Yeah. And in terms of where do you site these charging stations. It's not a trivial matter.
Yeah.
So you're at the Makawao Union Church. Talk about where, if you were to put in a charging station, where would you put it?
We have 2 different parking areas, and probably put it in the parking area by the community hall. That community hall is in use almost every evening of the week, so it would be perfect for local residents. And the opportunity to charge, get one last fix before you head on up the hill would be, quite appropriate for it.
Yeah. Well, and in terms of distance to the power source, is it close to?
Yes.
Yeah. So you already looked at that. So this is a great opportunity. Makawao Union Church is not just a church; it's also a venue for concerts. What is that? Historical?
It's an historical, an historic monument building, designated almost 30 years ago. It was it just celebrated its 150th birthday.
Wonderful.
So most people don't realize that it's an active church.
Yeah.
They think it's just an historic site, and it's the site of the old Baldwin sugar mill. The Baldwin family built it. And so it's got a huge community hall, which does everything from tango to yoga to community meetings.
And it's located very strategically. If
Yes.
you're coming from Hana or Haiku or Paia, you would go up the Baldwin Avenue
Right.
to go up to Makawao. Right. So I think we should consider that. All right.
And I think you should look for more sites like that.
Yeah.
Just because you're going to have, I noticed at the hotels, trying to get in to charge is very difficult. I'm not, if I'm just a Kama'aina,
Right.
they're not really thrilled with letting me in to charge.
Is that right?
Yeah. So, that's probably why they're not doing the press releases.
I think what happened was initially with the ARA funding, that was the low-hanging fruit. Yeah. It's less obvious for outsiders to know of places like the Makawao Union Church. Like you think of the obvious places like shopping centers or hotels.
But shopping centers, parking is probably one of the most valuable resources to a business entity here. And so looking for places that have excess parking capacity ought to have been one of the primary criteria.
That's a good point, because you don't want to have to designate one of your scarce resources to EV parking and charging when most of the time it's not going to be used,
Right.
Or perceived not to be used. There's also the contention issue. Suppose a lot of EVs want to use that charging station.
Well, and there's also the issue of, I parked at the county a couple days ago, and there was just a regular old truck parked in the second slot. And as soon as I pulled out, another non-EV car pulled in behind.
So they were iced.
Yeah.
So you couldn't get access to the charging station.
Right.
Because, we need to introduce a parking ordinance so that the police can do something about that. Otherwise
Well, I really can't blame them. Talking to a county employee, there's a 10-year waiting list for parking spaces if you work for the county.
Right.
And I think, once again, I know you're probably tired of hearing me push this, but I think we need a ride-share model.
Right.
Just because that alleviates so many of these issues.
Ride share, car share, yes, absolutely. So those are some things we're working on. I just want to wrap up this section of our episode, because we have more coming, to say that we have more information on our Maui EVA website, which is mauieva.org. We also update the latest gossip and deals on our Facebook page. Everybody can access that. We also tweet every day, and all our episodes are loaded on our Maui EVA TV YouTube channel. And if you're interested in the report, here's where you can go find it. And we'll be right back to talk more. Please don't go away. Maui EVA.
One of the big advantages of going to Maui College is that it's affordable, but at the same time it doesn't sacrifice quality.
UH Maui College's Bachelor's of Applied Science in Applied Business and Information Technology combines the best in entrepreneurial education with information technology and liberal arts.
It's supposed to encompass every aspect of business that prepares you to be an entrepreneur and run your own business, from finances and accounting to marketing and e-commerce.
This degree will prepare students to own and operate their own businesses, seek employment in small to mid-sized companies, or apply for graduate studies.
Getting the applied business and IT degree will help me start my own business and have the knowledge and skill set necessary to run it.
For more information, call the Educational Opportunities Center at 984-3286 or visit us online at maui.hawaii.edu.
Discover your future through learning. With a Bachelor's of Applied Science degree, you'll be prepared for a career in the field of sustainable science management, engineering and technology, or applied business and information technology. Create sustainable communities. Engineer the next generation of technology. Develop the business expertise to succeed in a dynamic economic environment. Apply now at the University of Hawaii Maui College.
Welcome back to the 11th episode of Maui EVA TV. My name is Ann Koo, and I'm very pleased to have Thomas Hussey, the head of UHMC's automotive program, with us. Thomas, welcome back.
Hi.
I say welcome back because you were on the second episode when we just got back from Honolulu and we rented a Leaf together.
That's right.
Yeah, it was, gosh, when was that? April 2012.
Yeah, it was during spring break.
Spring break,
Yes.
and now you've had a chance to drive a Leaf every single day for a month.
Yes.
How was that experience?
Well, you had to plan everything. That's one of the things we had to do, because though it says you have 100 miles, it's more important to look at the bar and look at how much charge you have instead of try to go by miles.
Yes,
That's
because
what
the
I
miles fluctuate, how many miles you have left,
Yes.
right? According to how you've been driving.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So I live in Pukalani, so when I had a full charge at my school, it's about 12 miles away, and going up that hill in Aleakala, I found out it took about anywhere from 60% to 50 to 60% of the charge, which is only 12 miles.
Yes.
So you cannot rely on the miles that you can get from this car.
Because of the elevation.
Yeah.
That's the
and the amount of charge it takes just going up there.
Going up, right.
Because it motor needs more torque. It's going to need more electricity as it goes up that hill.
Yes, that's right.
And then when I came back down, of course it charges itself, but it doesn't give you back everything that you took.
Right.
So you know, I could drive that car back from Pukalani to my program, which is 12 miles, maybe two days I had before I had to recharge it again. You know, so, and then that's about what, 24 kilowatt hours to recharge a battery. You know, so I kind of brought it way down to I had like 3 miles more to go according to the thing, you know, just to see how far I could get before.
So
I
you
had
got to really experiment with the Leaf, what you could do with it, how far it would go, and when, yeah?
Yeah, so my problem is finding a charging station, because I went to couple stores, and they had their charging stations, but I had to have a special
fob or something
to get inside.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get in because I wasn't registered with that fob.
Right.
Or we had stores that had the structure, but it was not operating.
There's a lot of work we have to do there. A lot of work.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stress on just range society anxiety, and so that we have to really think about when you're going to use this car and how far you was going to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But when you came downhill from Pukalani, you gained back what, 25% of the power? or
About
something?
25% of the power, but I lost 60%.
Going up.
Yeah.
Right? So it's an elevation. Yeah. Yeah. Let's. How do we put it? Let's talk about the upcoming Auto Fest.
Oh, we're having our Auto Fest on March 23rd, which is Saturday, and it starts from 5 o'clock to 10 that evening.
Okay.
We're having local bands. Our Ono food trucks are coming all from Maui.
Yes.
When, last year we had a crowd of about 2,000 people. We had 143 vehicles there.
143.
Yeah, and we had all kinds.
And there were just 2 plug-in electric vehicles last year.
Yeah, I think a Volt and a Leaf, yeah?
No, a Volt and an electric truck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Our utility truck.
Yeah, I was there, but I won't be there this year. But this year we're hoping to have the Leaf, the Volt, and Ford electric van, and the truck too, and maybe one of your retrofits.
Oh, a hybrid. You
Yeah.
mean. Yeah, we
or
have two.
something.
We have 2 hybrids in our program. Yeah.
Right.
And then we're actually going to have a hybrid class, which we had last year. It was an experiment, and we're going to do it again. So if you guys are interested in learning about introduction to a hybrid, we'll be having on this summer.
Great.
Yeah,
great.
you guys can call the school at or my program at 984-3236, and then they can try to see if we can register them for this class coming up.
Gosh, I didn't know about this. I don't have it on my slide. I only have the pictures of the Auto Fest from last year. But,
Yes, so going back to the Auto Fest, as you can see, we got all kind of cars. We have classic cars, we have imports.
So this is what, a Chrysler
That's
classic?
actually Chevrolet. Back in the 50s,
Uh-huh.
the owner had got this car as a basket case. We call it basket case because it was all apart. And he put it together and he modified it and put a
it's
lot of hours
beautiful.
and time into it, yeah. Which, a lot of money too. So a lot of these guys have a lot of pride in these cars, and you should see how clean their garage is,
Oh, wow.
And then we have some imports. This car particularly came from the Scion Club.
Oh.
So we have club cars that they were
Club
there. We had
cars.
Scion Clubs, we had Mustang, a group of Mustangs, and they all came in as clubs. So this year we expect it to be even bigger and better.
Even bigger, and I don't know what
so we
this
got this
is.
Volkswagen. You see a Volkswagen Bug, and then we have these rock crawlers. These are Jeeps that crawl off road and they're made to crawl on rocks and things. So they go through trails and stuff, And I can tell you, I would say every vehicle that came in was clean because those rock crawlers usually are not that clean.
Whoa, so they cleaned it for the festival.
For the festival.
Whoa, and this is a Volkswagen.
The Volkswagen Bugs and the old cars. So we had classic cars, and we had motorcycles, race bikes, race cars.
These are the motorcycles.
Those are the mopeds.
Mopeds.
Yeah. So we even had golf carts out there.
Is
so
this
you
a
see
golf
the golf
cart?
cart and that race bike in the back. So we had race cars.
You designed a golf cart, didn't you?
Yeah,
Did you
I have
do
one here for.
I love that. I rode in it too when you rescued me when my battery went dead. So can you say that Maui is all about cars? I mean, there's a big car
interest in
culture.
cars, just like the other islands,
Yeah.
And this year we're trying to add the keiki in mind, so we're bringing in a jumping castle for them.
Oh, for the children.
Yeah, for the children to have stuff. Last year we had the Hot Wings contest.
That was awesome. That was scary. I would never do that.
Yeah. So we're trying to, get interest of everybody there.
Right. So this is on Saturday, March 23rd, and I guess the cars need to start coming in around 4 o'clock,
around
right?
4 o'clock.
But by 5 o'clock, they'll all be lined up.
Yeah. The big thing we want to mention is that it's free.
It's free. Yes, it's free.
And but this year we're going to have prizes for the People's Choice.
Of the best car?
Of the best car so people's going to choose which car they want.
Oh, wow.
And then with each category, we got 10 different categories. We're going to have a trophy for each one that wins.
What are some of the categories?
Classic exotic cars, off-road vehicles, drag racing cars.
So,
you know.
do you think the electric vehicle could be in one of these categories?
I'm not sure. We haven't made an EVA car yet.
Well, last year I was interviewed for Maui no Ko'oi magazine, the back seat of the Chevy Volt, and this would be nice to get some journalists around to sit inside these cars.
Well, I know we made a one of those popular magazines that
Yeah.
came down and took pictures. So,
Oh.
you know, so we were nationally looked at through magazines and
That's
stuff. This
great.
thing. So they want to come back again.
Great.
So I want to leave my phone number so that anybody interested in bringing their cars, they can give me a call at the school. It's 984-3236.
984-3236. That's Thomas Hussey's phone number. He is are you organizing it?
Well, it's my partner actually, Kyle Takushi, and the student life program.
program coordinator,
Yeah.
Francine
Ching.
Okay, and also students organizing
organize the
this big
student-
festival
Yeah.
with food trucks and lots of cars. So please check out 23rd of March, Saturday at UH Maui College campus. And we'll be right back to finish this episode with Anne Jenny, economist, about education and workforce training for electric vehicles, right after this.
Wellness Center is the bomb.
I love it. It's awesome.
The UH Wellness Center is the place to be. Hope to see you soon.
You're watching MCTV, the UH Maui College Television Network.
Discover your future through learning. With a Bachelor's of Applied Science degree, you'll be prepared for a career in the field of sustainable science management, engineering and technology, or applied business and information technology. Create sustainable communities. Engineer the next generation of technology. Develop the business expertise to succeed in a dynamic economic environment. Apply now at the University of Hawaii Maui College.
Receiving financial aid made a difference in these students' lives.
Having financial aid definitely helped me stay in college because otherwise I wouldn't be able to fund my college on my own.
Without financial aid, I don't think I would probably complete my first year. That's the part I needed help in, which was the financial part, and financial aid really helped me a lot. I don't think that I would have come to Maui College or any college without financial aid.
I would not be able to come to college at all without financial aid.
Call or stop by the financial aid office at Maui College to see how receiving financial aid for college can make a difference in your life.
Welcome back to this last segment of Maui EVA TV, episode 11. So far, we've talked about the report to the Department of Energy on EV readiness of Maui from our planning grant, and also the LEAF experience and the second UHMC Auto Fest. I'd like to end this section, this episode, with talking about education and workforce training. And just before I bring our guests back, I want to say that I invited the digital photography class of Harvey Reed at our Lahaina Education Center to go on an expedition on a quest for photos of EVs in paradise. This was back in February 2013, and I'm pleased to say that we've got quite a lot of photos, photos of EVs in paradise. And I'd just like to share this with our guests here today. And that's Thomas Hussey, head of automotive, and also economist Anne Jenny. Welcome back to the last segment of Maui EVA TV. I want to share with you how we went to Lahaina, and about 12 students, we all drove around looking for good spots to take pictures. And here they are trying to take pictures of this blue leaf. And even some models, and there were passerbys wondering what's so special about the car. Here was an instance of where we educated not just the passerbys, but also the students. Students were asking questions. They were in the car. Questions like, well, you know, where's the gas tank? You know, there's not a single drop of gas in this thing. Oh, and so then opened up the car, and now we get to have lots of great photos to use for promotional purposes, outreach, also for the Maui Weekly column, EV in Paradise. And because prior to this, you know, the only photos we had were, you know, photos from the manufacturer, kind of. But we're talking about EVs in paradise. It's very specific. Yeah, here's Lahaina. So in terms of education, what you gather from the report and workforce training, this is quite a, I mean, as an educational institution, Maui College.
Now, I would differentiate between workforce training
and
just sort of informing people about what the cars can and can't do, and you know, how to drive one. I think that's two very different.
Two very different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. In fact, we separate that. We call that outreach and education, but really it's by who the audience is. So consumer education is one thing. Educating, say, those that serve charging station customers, that's another, right? Like hotel staff, perhaps. But then there are also those people that fix these EVs. Thomas, what do you say about that? Do we have adequate skills?
First of all, I want to ask you about these pictures that I see here. Okay, how come there's no pictures of the interior? Because I was, if anything that I'm impressed is that GPS
Right.
in front, you know. And when I took
That's a
people
good
and drove
point.
people in this car, they were so interested in that map that was going on and you know, and they were so impressed that they could have a GPS and it told you where you went. They were so with that screen in the car, and that's the most impressive things I thought of this
Not
car.
the outside.
But you're showing all the outside of it.
That's
you know?
a good point, because most people, they only see the outside. They don't realize inside is another world. Here's the other thing. After you've driven the Nissan Leaf for a while, or even the Chevy Volt for a while, doesn't that change the way you expect information to be delivered to you as a driver? I mean, think about going back to the gas car. Earlier I mentioned how I ran out of battery. That was my gas car. That was my 1999 Nissan Sentra. The battery died. It wasn't the Leaf, or just to make sure. But think about it.
Well, when we bought our Prius 10 years ago, part of the reason we did was because we bought the full package with the nav system and all the monitoring information, just because that was, you know, part of the fascination with this new technology, and to be able to monitor the charge as it's happening, to be able to have that map system. And, you know, we drove it in Canada and, you know, to Florida, and the nav system was wonderful.
So it sounds like we need to have more pictures
of the interior. Yeah.
Of the interior. You're right. Well, this is the closest we got, which is looking at the
Yeah,
battery.
because a lot of people will mistake this. If you look at this thing, it looks like an engine there. And that's not an engine.
It's not an engine?
Everybody would think it's an engine, but no.
It's not an internal combustion engine.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
that's the inverter that converts the
inverter.
electricity.
Well, where's the motor?
The motor's below that, yeah.
So,
okay, so this car doesn't have an engine. It has a motor.
It has a motor.
Okay, engine is internal combustion, gasoline, you know, or diesel, or, you know, it needs some kind of fuel. Okay, a motor is an electric
Motor. So there's no engine,
Yes.
but there's a motor.
Okay.
Sounds
And
like
that's the
I need to
difference
take
between-
your class.
That's the difference between a Volt. Now, a Volt does have a gasoline engine, but that only drives the generator. It doesn't drive the car at all.
Right.
It's to run the generator to keep that car charged.
For the battery.
For the battery to
be
move the car, yeah.
So that's a big difference, because it's a series hybrid rather than
Yeah.
a parallel hybrid, which is the plug-in Prius, where it does have an engine. It does
Use an engine and a motor
and
to
a
run
motor, gas motor.
Yeah.
So would you say Toyota plug-in Prius is much more complicated because it has all that?
Yeah, I think it's more complicated
It's
than
got
an electric
28
car.
computers in it.
28
Yeah.
computers?
Yeah.
Yeah, several
And this is for the old one, not for the newer plug-in
Yeah.
ones.
And cars nowadays have more than one computers inside. Yeah, they have modules, they call them, and they all talk to one central computer.
So the modern
Yes.
auto mechanic has to be well-versed.
Yes, and well trained.
in all these things.
Yeah, and then, you know, with the school and facilities here, you know, we need to expand if we're going to do this, because right now with the two instructors we have full-time and we have 2 lecturers, we use our shop constantly.
Like
you know, it's from Monday to Friday, and it starts
Morning till evening?
morning to evening. We're there from 7:30 in the morning, and we finish at 9 o'clock at
Oh
night.
my goodness. And there's just 2 instructors?
Yeah, there's 2 full-time instructors.
2
and
full-time instructors.
And 2 lecturers.
Oh, 2 additional lectures. So,
Yeah,
okay.
to run that, and we just got 1 shop and 1, you know, so we need more equipment to do this new thing.
You need more space, otherwise you
Yeah.
can't get more equipment.
Yeah,
Right. What about students? Do you have enough students?
we have enough students.
Is there a waiting list?
There's a waiting list. So most of our students get in on the first day, and they actually wait till midnight, so they can get in on that day so they can register.
Register online.
Dine.
They wait till
They gotta
right at the
register.
turn of midnight in order to register.
Right when it starts?
Right when it starts, to make sure that they can get in.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So our classes close within 3 days.
That's amazing. So when are you going to get your new facilities?
I don't know. That's up to
Up to the powers that
administration,
be. Wow.
You know.
Well, I'm just going to quickly flip through the rest of these photos to show you. I was really impressed that we got so many different kinds of photos, you know, different locations. The funny thing was, I was the only one that was worried, which was running out of power. you know, going past Kapalua, up and down, you know, and I was thinking, I got to get back to Wailuku. How, you know, they don't care. They just think it's just a car.
That's right. They don't understand
the
difference between an EV car and a gasoline car or a hybrid car.
Exactly. So in the end, it was good. I was forced to have kama'aina sushi at the Ritz because the Ritz Carlton at Kapalua had a charging station, had 2 free ports. So that was good. Here's a nice back of the car, and then we also had
I can see that's one of the problems on Maui is having enough stations so that you can plug in anytime. So you're at the mercy of this place and to buy sushi so you can plug this car in.
No, that's good. But see, going back to your question, you know, what are property owners getting back? What are charging hosts getting back? Well, you know, it was a choice between going to the Ritz, you know, or going somewhere else that didn't have charging station. So I chose the Ritz. Otherwise, I would never dine at the Ritz. I mean, I can't afford the Ritz, but that's what I did because they had free charging station there. And it's the furthermost north on the west side. So here are the students of the digital photography class of Harvey Reed. And we'll see these photos in the next few months coming out in print. And I want to thank you very much for joining me today on the 11th episode of Maui EVA TV. And you can watch all of these online every Saturday and Sunday from the Maui College homepage at maui.hawaii.edu, 5 o'clock and 11 o'clock Hawaii time, HST, MCTV live stream, and then later on YouTube. Thank you, and hope you come back and join us for other episodes.
Ke nāna mai nei o ko Yamuse Tive, ka pūnai vele kiwi o ke kula nui o Maui.
The Bachelor's of Applied Science and Engineering Technology at UH Maui College provides curriculum and training in electronics, computers, optics, remote sensing, and other technologies.
Always messed with video games and televisions and computers. So it's always something I really wanted to work with, you know, throughout my life.
I always had a fascination with electronics, and then because I was in the associate's degree, that also motivated me to do the bachelor's degree.
This degree prepares graduates to be productive professionals who can make meaningful contributions to industry in Maui County, the state of Hawaii, and the world.
Well, I especially like the hands-on experience that we get and the hands-on learning that we receive.
You don't need to leave home to do it.
For me, it means that it's affordable. I can stay here on Maui.
If you would like more information on how to apply to this program, call the Educational Opportunity Center at 984-3286 or visit us online at maui.hawaii.edu.
Have you been thinking about attending college but believe you may not be eligible for financial aid?
Well, at first, kind of felt a little bit afraid, maybe because I won't be eligible, but I was pretty eligible. I got some good grant to help me through my first year.
To find out which types of financial aid you may be eligible for, call or stop by the Financial Aid Office at Maui College today.